Hello again, everyone. Welcome to an episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games of the Game Pass collection, bringing you 3 new perspectives for varying skill range. I am the Burnout Master of this episode. Andrew, with me are Burnout, Keith.
Hello.
And with us, the one who still needs to be in driver's ed because she wrecks all their cars, Liz.
Hey, guys.
This week, we had a listener request. So thank you so much to user2, user_2, for recommending that we play Burnout Paradise Remastered by Criterion Games. Burnout Paradise Remastered is a driving game where you are running around a city called, who would have thought, Paradise City, and you are doing races, crashing people. It is a normal kind of racing game, but its big shtick for it is that it is kind of detailed crashes. But this is a older game. It originally came out in 2008, if I do believe. And this remastered, I believe, came out in 2020?
18.
2018, there it is. Yeah, it was 10 years. But yes, Liz, I'm not going to have you go first. So Keith picked this, because we get a good amount of list requests, but Keith's like, we haven't done a driving game in a while. And, Liz, you do not like driving games. So, tell us, was Burnout Paradise a game or a pass for you?
Oh, I thought you said I wasn't going first.
No?
Yeah, he did say that.
Oh,
yeah, he did.
Whoops. No, you're going first. So,
okay.
Surprise.
So, it is a pass, because I just don't like driving games. I don't like driving in real life. I don't like driving. But
You were giggling a lot.
I was, because, do you know what? I didn't want to play this game, but I really did love smashing up the other cars. And I found myself, like, I don't want to say, like, I'm good at it, but it was, like, I was, out of everything in the game, it is what I excelled at compared to, racing and paying attention to the map and stuff. So I did, and also, like, it's funny, like, when you crash and burn and someone's watching you, it just makes me laugh every time. So it is a pass, but I think for a racing game, it also, like, because we weren't playing with people online, it really wasn't as intimidating. So there definitely were some pros, but it's still a personal pass.
Keith, why don't you go?
Let's go back to the year 2005 for a minute. Need for Speed Underground, maybe even came out a little before that, I don't remember. But I remember I was playing it my freshman year of college. Open world, racing game, car crashes, arcade. Awesome. Burnout came along, and I don't know that I ever really played it much, but here I am now playing it 10 years later, remastered, after getting a whole slew of Forza Horizon games. And I would rather play any one of those games than Burnout Paradise. It's fine. It's fun. It has its moments, but overall, it just lacks in all of the good game mechanics that all of those other games that came before it and came after it have done. And so, if you want to play like an arcade, open world racing type of game, try and get your hands on Need for Speed Underground, because that was awesome. Or get a Forza Horizon game. I'm sorry, Javier. I apologize. Take me out of Paradise City.
So, you've never played any Burnout games before, Keith?
I feel like, are they like literally in arcades?
No.
No.
You think of like
either way, I mean,
the Cruise in USA games.
I've probably played handfuls of them along the way, but I don't think I've ever played any of them extensively. And I think, I will say, if I was in 2008, I probably would have liked this a lot more. But it just did not age well for me. And that's, I think, my biggest gripe.
So I have a long history of Burnout games. I loved these games. These games were always... These games, I would actually say, probably got me into racing games. I am generally not a huge racing game fan, but the Burnout series is just fun, arcadey, like, style, and I loved it. It was Forza Horizon before Forza Horizon was a thing. So it was... Like, the wrecking in it was just always such a blast to me. My favorite one was Burnout Revenge, which I do believe was the previous one. But as far as Burnout Paradise goes, I hate to say this, but this is actually a pass for me as well. It did not age well. I remember that I liked this game. I remember back in the day I played it and I beat it, but I remember being disappointed in it, and I couldn't remember why. Then I played this, and then I went, now I remember why. The big, awesome game mode that every Burnout game had, not every one, I think it was like the past two ones actually, it had crash mode, and this does not have crash mode. I do not understand why they got rid of crash mode. It was a fan favorite. Everyone loved it. I got excited when I was telling Liz about this, where I was like, ooh, this game's all about crashing, and there's this fun puzzle game where you are steering your wreckage, and you're just causing all this destruction, and you're trying to see how much damage you can do. And it's gone. So, Burnout Paradise, you literally can see what this game offers you within an hour. It just has a couple of activities. Racing, Marked Man,
Road Rage,
yeah, and then the specific cars. And it was just like, that was it. And it's just rinse and repeat. So, yeah, I'm with you, Keith. This game did not age well. This was a very good game for its time. The crashing in it was really cool, but at this point in time, there's a lot of quality of life things that I'm like, how does this game not have that? Such as fast travel, better GPS. But anyway, I'm going on too long. Yes, so it's hard for me to recommend this game.
Javier just said RB right and left bumper brings you into crash mode.
Oh, that's right. Oh, no, does it? Oh man. Well, where was the game supposed to tell me? Because it never told me that. How was I supposed to know?
Did any of us know? Keith, did you know?
I did not know this. I noticed all like the street scores that I would see, but I didn't know that it. Assuming that's what it's related to, I actually didn't know how to get to any of that.
I didn't either. But either way, so it's just an optional thing. Why would they make crash mode an optional thing? That's a thing that everyone loved. Why would they make it like a hidden thing? Gosh, that irritates me. Anyway, so let's get into the story of Burnout Paradise. So the year is 2055. The jailing system has been overpopulated with so many criminals. So they created this city called Paradise City, and they released the criminals out throughout this city where they can just drive and crash all they want. The only rule is to survive. Also, the only other rule is you can't turn off your radio because you must listen to the warden, DJ Atomica. And I know what you're thinking, and yes, it is that DJ Atomica. But you have to go around and just cause a whole bunch of destruction because this is Paradise City. I'm just kidding. I just completely made that up.
I was going to say, is that really a story?
I was like, I missed all that.
You were looking at me like, did I miss this? No, there is no story.
There was large bits of time where I played this game with no audio at all.
Yeah. So this is going to be my first miss. It's like there's nothing, no story at all. It's just you're like, hey, you're in this city. Here's a driver's license. You got to improve it. There you go.
Yeah, I mean that seems about right. There's not even a means to an end. It just is. It's just there.
In which I guess, like you said, in 2008, this is completely acceptable. Like it was, you're playing this game for crashing. But now, like I said, why this is the first thing of why I think this game aged poorly. When you play Forza Horizon, yeah, it's not a gripping story, but there's at least a reason as to what you're doing and why you're doing these things. And it's just like, okay, yeah, that's a means to an end. You're creating the Forza Horizon Festival. In this, it's just you're just crashing, and there's technically no people around because the cars are empty. Except, the Burnout Paradise Remastered has all the DLC in it, and one of the DLCs is bikes, like motorcycles, and you can actually have a driver on it. Did any of you guys try the motorcycles?
No.
I did not.
I got excited. I was like, ooh, cool, there's a person on it. Am I going to get some cool, wacky camera angles of a biker guy, like, crashing into the walls? No. As soon as you crash your bike, no, he disappears. There's literally no person. He just disappears, and you just see a bike kind of flop around on the road, and the bike didn't even have like real destruction physics on it. It literally just kind of flops on the road, and it's just like, oh, there it is. It's like, come on, it's like you guys create a writer. Like, I want to launch this guy. That would have been comical.
That's disappointing.
I thought you were going to say disturbing.
This is Keith here.
Not disappointing. But I mean, that's really the whole thing is in where I don't think I can give it a game as a whole is that the gameplay overall is fun. It's a fun racing arcade game. I think we're pretty much done with the story because it doesn't exist. So I'm going to talk.
No,
about
there's a
gameplay,
lot to talk about. DJ Atomica.
Oh heavens! How could I forget DJ Atomica? But I genuinely found myself having, I don't know, fun with the racing. I think it's a good time. It's grippy. It's very arcadey. So I don't know, not very sim-like at all. Whatever. And the crashes are fun. The jumps are fun. They, like Forza Horizon games that came after it. There is tons of collectibles. It's not roads to be driven, but signs to be smashed and jumps to be jumped and stunts to be stunted and all of these things to do. So it's tons of fun to just drive around the city and do all these things. But my goodness, that lack of fast travel it's glaringly obvious when the only way to switch your car is at the garage and there's like 4 of them around the city.
Yeah.
And none of them are easy to get to. And then you have these individual races where you have to use a specific car, but you back to the garage to get that car.
That was my biggest complaint.
Made up.
It's like, just let me switch to the car so I could do this race. Like, come on.
Yeah, at the very least, exactly. Just give me the opportunity. Just hop switch. Even if I can go back to my old car, or I have to go back to my old car. I don't care. Just let me just race in that car, and it makes the gameplay so stop and go, and it takes away from that open world element of just driving around and doing the next thing.
I'm assuming maybe they thought that if you have to go back, you'll find more of like this. So you can go through the fences. There's a certain amount of the yellow fences that you need to burst through.
Yeah, the shortcut fences, yeah.
Yeah, the billboards, super jumps. And so for me, I didn't really mind. Well, I mean, I wasn't going to go back and switch my car regardless. But there were times where I'm like, oh, I kind of want to go back and do that road rage event. And I actually didn't mind driving all the way back because I would find those. And I thought they were fun. But I also, like, besides, like, the Marked Man and the Road Rage, I mean, that was my favorite thing to do, was to drive around and crash the billboards and stuff.
Yeah, I remember this was the big shtick with Burnout Paradise is, hey, it's open world now, because all the other Burnouts were just, you selected the course and, you did the activity. Whether it be, like, revenge or racing or whatever. You just selected it, boom, there's the race, there you go, you did it, the end. But now this is like, hey, it's open world. Because this is 2008, this has been open world stuff was the new hot thing. It was the Battle Royale back in the day. Every game was trying to have some sort of open worldness to it. And I thought it was just okay back in the day, because like I generally just enjoyed like clicking, going to the race, cool, have fun, do the thing. But yeah, just the fast travel, like luckily this map is not very big. I think to completely circle the map, it was one of the events I was doing on a motorcycle. It literally took about 8 minutes. Like, that's not very long, just to circle the entire map. But it's just kind of odd. Okay, my biggest complaint with the map, so they kind of tell you at the beginning of the game of like, oh, every intersection is an activity. You discover the activity and you do a burnout at it, and here you go, you start the activity. And they say, oh, the main key points are, 9 points, northeast, southwest, well, north, northeast, east, every point of the compass. Those are the major points, and every race ends at one of those points. Like, it's odd to just be like, yeah, you're doing a race and you're going to end at just one of these 9 points. So I felt like 90% of the time I'm driving, I am just hitting the same exact roads. Very rarely do I ever feel like I'm driving in the center of the city or in the center of the roads when you're in the countryside. It's kind of an odd design that they did that way. I would have just preferred if they were like, here's a race, you go from point A to point B, and it's a squiggly line. But no, it's open world. Get to the barn, the Lone Star Ranch, any way you want. Just get there. And it was an odd design choice. So the races to me were just kind of annoying.
I liked it as a whole, but I think you're right that if there was more. Like if there was actually open worldness to it, because at the end of the day too, yes, you had this open world, but everything took place on a road. There is no sweeping fields. There is no cutting across.
You literally described a
forests.
racing game, Keith.
Well, okay. Forza Horizon, you go through fields, you go through forests, you go off road.
Okay, now I understand.
There
what you're
are
trying to say.
secret like pathways though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same as open fields, but
Right, and there's cut throughs, yeah, there's shortcuts, and they're not always shortcuts. They're sometimes just weird off the beaten path roads or paths.
yeah.
But because of the fact that everything takes place just on a closed circuit road and nothing off road to it, the point A to point B race without following a set pattern just felt like you really needed to follow one set pattern. And if you had a fast enough car, you could maybe take a couple wrong turns and probably be okay, because overall,
Yep.
the racing wasn't difficult. The takedown stuff pretty easy, and I probably could have turned difficulties up. I don't know, I didn't look at it. And the marked man was surprisingly hard. That one actually gave me some struggle, mostly because I would end up crashing myself too often, and that's how I would end up
that's me too.
wrecking out of those.
I don't think I did bad at them though, but I did usually. And then of course I did love that. I always forgot to do it unless like Andrew was watching me, but to go to a repair shop mid either marked man or road rage, and you can kind of save yourself that way. But yeah, I was the same way. But I wanted to say with the map, I thought it was interesting going to the DLC, and the navigation is way better because they have those yellow or orange arrows.
The checkpoints, yeah. Arrow checkpoints.
Yes, and I needed those, especially because I really struggled with you're not like supposed to move the camera. And I really, I wanted to when I was driving because, okay, so for instance, when you're driving in real life, you are looking around. You're not just staring straight ahead because, there might be a pedestrian. Or if you're turning, it's like, oh, someone might be running a red. It actually happens quite a bit, You're looking around. And so for me, like, I thought that the GPS app, it didn't show you up ahead or, like, well enough. And so, like, I felt like the DLC did it better. But I also can't really complain because when you do look at the map during these races, I don't know if it's like a full pause or if it's just slow-mo. But it does give you the opportunity to look at the map when you're driving and slow down or pause the game.
Yeah, it's still not a good system, though. Yeah, that blew my mind of, like, they so badly wanted this to be an open-world game. I hated the races of... Yeah, the only navigations you got are you have a compass on top of your screen that has, a red marker. That's where the finish line. It's east of you. Go east. Like, but it's like, okay, but there's so many stinking roads and shortcuts. And then the other option you have is while you're driving, a flashing street sign will appear saying, oh, like it'll give you a suggestion and maybe take this left. But this game is so fast. It's hard to like be like slowing down and be like, where's this road? Where's this road? Where's this road? Because also it's like a 45-degree left sharp turn. It's just like, gotta quickly slam on my brakes.
See, I thought it was just me that felt that way.
No,
and then,
it's frustrating.
I would say a good 70. No, I'd say a good 80% of the time. No, but it's more. 85 to 90% of the time I was playing this, I didn't use my brakes. So
I kept telling you.
So
I love the comment.
Brakes.
I love the comment you said too of, oh wow, the brakes actually work. And I'm like, yes.
No, but if you accelerate and you're going so much faster than the other people, then if you crash a couple times, like you're still in the lead. But yeah, so I did start like braking, and I was like, okay, this does work.
Ah, man, Javier, that's a good description. It's a better Fast and Furious game than the actual Fast and Furious game. This would be a good Fast and Furious game. Like, it's kind of the perfect, image of it. But yeah, it is funny. Yeah, your comment, Keith, all gas, no brakes. That's literally Liz. Even to turn around, Liz was fully hitting the gas and grinding her car against the wall as she's slowly turning. Like, because she refused to hit reverse. It's just...
No, I would hit reverse.
There's a couple times you did it. I was just cracking up laughing because your car's just burning.
Sometimes you can fit,
You're so entertaining to watch, Liz.
This is just driving the warthog everywhere.
Yes.
I also think too with like when I first started playing, because you automatically unlock some of the DLC cars?
Yeah.
That are like super fast and
the
stuff.
legendary cars, yeah.
Yeah, so I was originally starting with these super super fast cars when I hadn't driven like the regular ones that much, and so I really should have
ran
started
before
out
you learned
slow.
to walk.
Yeah. I did want to mention one thing that kind of bothered me, and it shouldn't have, but when it came to like instances like the road rage, there were times where I was getting like more than 20 takedowns, and I don't like that it's just pass or fail, you know? Like
yeah. You can only get first in a race or you lose. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me it's like I got so many people out. Like I just felt like there should be extra credit points. Same with
I think at certain points too, it gives you, like it adds bonus time to like make it easier to make sure you get enough. But at that point, you have so many takedowns that you just need it to end. So, like I got to a point, I just stopped driving.
Oh no, I usually killed myself. If you crash, like usually depending on your car, it's usually like 3 or 4 crashes. I would just kill myself so it end the race.
I just wanted to destroy everybody.
Yeah, let's just rack it up 20 takedowns.
Yeah, it was the same with the points one. It's like I have enough points, and there's no need to get extra points, so I just wanted it to be over.
They have achievements for it though, with like get 10 takedowns,
perfect
in a
range
row
or
something. Yeah, so I got that one. So I didn't realize it was an achievement. I really was just like smash.
God dang it, an achievement! I didn't mean to do that.
I didn't mean to achieve things in this game. But yeah, another odd design. So you're doing these races. You're like, cool, I completed that race. And as I said, the whole objective of this game is you're trying to complete these events, and you have a license. You obviously start with the learner's permit, then it goes D, C, B, A, then eventually, I think, Burnout Elite is the last license. But every time you're upgrading your license, it's essentially upping the difficulty. And it resets all the events. So all that work you did, gone. Do it again. And like that just like it's kind of a slap in the face. Like to me that just it made the game feel more tedious. To be like, oh cool, I cleared out the street, I did all these events, upgraded my license, do them all over again, and it's like, oh, come on. And so like that's the thing that just kind of that's another thing that just kind of didn't age well. Because I know we've been talking about that with like Diablo, like when we were playing Diablo, of like with these new seasons, do it all over again, find all the collectibles that you just did, and I. Back in the day in Diablo 2, that's like, yeah, I did that and it was fun. Like, back in the day, doing repetitive things like this was okay. But now there's just so many games to play that, to me, it irritates me. I'm like, God, I did these events, now I got to do it all over again. And so, it ups the difficulty. So now that you're a B-class driver, all the AI now has faster cars, you have faster cars. So it's just kind of slowly upping the difficulty. But it just got tedious with that.
I will say I did like when they started having cars that you need to look out for, and they made it really obvious because you're supposed to like do a takedown, and they made it really obvious who they were because they'd be weaving in and out of traffic versus like the rest of the normal cars,
the normal grandpa cars that are driving real slow, just get in your way.
And so, but I remember when the difficulty got a little bit higher, that changed too. Where I was like, I am getting that car, and I was like falling around and like crashing and stuff. But so like there were times where I did like that the difficulty went up. I thought that was more fun. But I think that for the amount of time that I put in, like I really didn't want to play after like an hour. I had like the first hour, it's like, oh well, yeah, that was kind of fun, and then after that, it's kind of done with it.
I was surprised. I was curious how you were going to like this game because I know you obviously don't like racing games, but I was like, this is just kind of a forgiving, fun, arcadey, just chaos game.
No pressure.
Yeah, and sure enough, when you booted this, you were very upset. You're like, oh, driving game. You instantly started giggling. You were digging the crashes, and like I was like, oh man, Liz is actually taking on this a little bit. But I had to feel like I knew. Once the races had awful navigation, I was like, Liz is going to hate this. Mm-hmm. Liz is so bad at navigation. And then sure enough, like when I was watching you play, I would have to be your GPS. I'm like, take this left, Liz.
No,
this right.
Fairness.
No, this left.
No, I did win races before you helped me.
Yeah.
For me, it's like there's some things too with like, I forget what event it was, but I did not mean to go on that long overpass.
Oh yeah,
and it's hard to get off.
There's an like overpass highway, and there's also like a rail system. This is what it's kind of like annoying. So when you're doing these races, as we were saying before, there's these kind of secret paths, the shortcuts. They have a yellow fence, so it's clearly marked like, hey, if you smash through this, it could be a shortcut. But you don't really know what the shortcut is, and sometimes they're not good for you during races. I never took the shortcuts during races because the shortcuts are usually dangerous. I feel like you crash in a lot of them. But yeah, there's a couple of shortcuts. Like, yeah, if you go on the overpass or you're on this rail system, you're just stuck, and it's a hard time getting off.
In like a quarry at one point.
Yeah.
Like, well, this race is over.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god. Thank you. Then this reminds me of another pet peeve of mine that this game didn't age well. There's no restart race. Like I said, you can only get first place. If you get second place, no, that's a fail, and you cannot restart. You'll have to drive all the way back.
Oh yeah, if you fail, you can't. But I believe before the event ends, you can hit. I think it was right on the D-pad, and it would bring up a menu.
Right on
do a restart. But
okay, I just discovered that. No, it brought up a menu to go online, but it was still just like.
I think there was an event, or I think there was an option for reset event, but that might only be for certain things.
There was also, we didn't play a lot of it because I didn't really like it, the multiplayer.
Oh,
because
yes.
I thought we were going to be like crashing into each other or racing, and it was just like...
There is a way to do online. I just didn't figure it out until today, that you hit right on the D-pad and like you can actually open up a party menu and actually like do it that way. Me and Liz tried the party game mode, and literally we did one game mode, and Liz was like, I absolutely do not want to do this.
Well, I did try it again, because you made me feel bad about only doing one, and then I was like, I still don't like it. You like go off of a cliff and do like a 360 or something.
Yeah, we had to do like a flat spin. It was kind of weird. But yeah, Clarence, I know. Yeah, you made the point of the point is to races to become more difficult so you can learn the shortcuts and become more familiar with the city. See, like as I said, I never liked to do the shortcuts because I felt like 90% of the time the shortcuts were more dangerous because a lot of the times you'd hit a jump and it would just throw you completely off a cliff and you'd end up dying. And it's like, well, that's not much of a shortcut anymore. If I was doing online races, I definitely would take the risk of like doing shortcuts. But the AI, that's the other thing. The AI in this game is competent. Like they're very fun to play with. Like they'll check you and try to kill you and stuff. But they're not very smart. Like, which is also kind of a perk. This game would infuriate me if they were dodging every single traffic car and everything like that. But it is very fun to be in a race and you're like, oh, that guy's in first and he has a good lead. Then all of a sudden you just see him crash into a car and it's so satisfying. It's like, ooh, yes, I got to get first place now. Well, but yeah, I never risk shortcuts.
I think the shortcuts would have been more fun if there were more achievements with it. Not to get
there is to get all of the shortcuts.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
More because there. I think what is it like 400?
Yeah,
or
there's
something?
400 shortcuts.
And so for me, it's like I know I'm not going to get 400, but if you're going to throw in sprinkle in a couple achievements,
like a 25%, all of them, 50%.
Yeah, and nothing
Yeah.
crazy. But I mean, I know sometimes I actually say like I don't like that type of achievement, but a game like this, I actually think it would have kept me more interested.
I think they have a one and done. It's like after 10 and then completion, I think. But I wouldn't argue that I'm right on that. I just thought.
Oh yeah, because
there is one for billboards. Yeah, kill like 10 billboards. But yeah, there's like 50 billboards.
I think it's only 5.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them.
But I see what I didn't realize is that the events themselves just reset with each license. I thought that at least new events were getting added, and maybe it does sprinkle in some more through it. I think I got almost to Class B. I think that's about how many races I did. But yeah, it was one of those games that I enjoyed doing the races themselves, but just given the inflexibility of switching cars and all of that I kind of just used one car all the time, and that was it.
Well, this is another thing that kind of irritated me. I did not notice a crazy difference with the cars. The biggest difference I noticed was the boost. If you're driving a speed car, you can only use your boost when your boost is at maximum. And then I did notice like the life, like the aggression cars usually had higher like defense, and I would notice that. But for the most part, I felt like all the cars handled the same. Like I would just, like I said, notice the boost, and I've noticed like if I could crash easier than other ones. But yeah, I was the same way. I usually picked one car and stuck with it majority of the time.
Me too.
But the great thing about this game is it's just the destruction. So like I said, this game is kind of a one-trick pony with its destruction, and its destruction is a lot of fun. As Liz was saying, the takedown game modes, just killing people is so much fun. But just doing the races and just the slow motion, because every time you crash, it does this nice little slow motion, and then seeing your car tumble, it is very satisfying. But I wanted more from it though. Wanted that crash mode.
Well, so it was kind of nice when you're playing, offline or against the computer or whatever. Is they were almost like little pause reset moments when you did a takedown, where if you you thought you were going to miss a turn or something, if you could just hit that takedown, it would correct you, or a jump would do that. But also, boy, that got annoying when you go through an area and it's like jump, 5 seconds, jump. And then you hit a billboard, and that's the thing. And then you get a takedown, and that's the thing. And it's like 5 cutscenes in a row. And you're like, I just want to keep racing.
See, it didn't irritate me. I always loved it.
Well, I loved it when
like irritate, but I thought it was too much. Go ahead. Sorry.
What you said with like if you did a takedown and it saved you. That happens so often that I would get excited when the cutscene came up because I'm like, yes.
Oh, yeah, because you make you invincible.
Yeah, so because I saw my car going towards something. Yeah. There's so many times that happened.
Yeah, there's so many times. You literally, you're like an inch away from crashing. Your car's like, and then it did the cutscene of you taking someone down. And you're just like, oh. It was pretty funny. There's
sometimes where it's the opposite, where like we both crash at the same time and I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I do feel like sometimes... I actually do agree with Keith, because if you're taking down a lot of people in a row, that's when it's like, okay, just let me drive.
It's like 5 in a row, 6 in a row, 7 in a row. Great, I get it. Half of them crashed by themselves, actually. But I think the legendary cars, I think that's the one I was using, was like the Ghostbusters mobile.
Yeah,
one of the legendary.
So there's 4 legendary cars. I couldn't place where the first car's from. But yeah, you had a Ghostbuster car. You had one from Knight Rider. And then the last car was the one Liz used a lot, which is supposed to be, from what I figured, it was like the Dukes of Hazzard's car. Because it had that horn of which was very comical. Because Liz would have had that horn going, and it's just her slow-mo crashing. It's funny seeing this car getting crumpled and it's going. I
didn't know how I kept doing that. I don't
know how you were doing it either.
Well, no, because I stopped using the Ghostbusters one because I kept accidentally turning on the...
I love you. As soon as you start the Ghostbuster car, you're like, I gotta change this car. I hate the siren.
And it would happen all the time, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing it or if it's like just natural.
I don't know how you're doing it either. But yeah, I like Javier. He says, man, I hate that you're all making me see past my nostalgia. Well, this is kind of my argument of like, I think I could recommend, if you played this game before, I think you can still have fun with it. But I think just with racing games today, I generally could not recommend someone going back to this and being like, oh yeah, this is a fun time. At the time, this game was very revolutionary. But it's just like so many games has just done things better now.
I kind of disagree.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the Back to the Future car was the 4th legendary car.
I kind of disagree with you, because if someone is like me and they're a noob and they don't really like playing online with real people and stuff, this is kind of perfect if you kind of want to like dip your toes in the racing game world. And so for me, it's like, is it the best racing game? No. Obviously not. But I will say that it really is easy for someone who's like just getting into it.
See, I still think...
Now I want to know if I would still like Twisted Metal.
Oh, man.
I wonder that too.
I really want to know, because I've
seen footage and I'm like, this looks a little rough.
I've often thought about that, because, I don't think it would... I don't know if I would enjoy it going back as much as I think I would, but... The thing, I guess, where for me is that I like Need for Speed was an open world racing game, Need for Speed Underground, and that game, it took hours of my life. It took controllers of my life, and I think just that holds such a special place in my heart for nostalgia. And I personally think it holds up better because of the progression systems better. I think it has a fast travel.
I'm pretty sure it did too.
It has like all of the quality of life things that Burnout Paradise is missing for me, and it still had epic crashes. And honestly, I thought the damage system in it was better too, like the way your car would actually handle differently and all the things like that. So I think if I was still going to go back to an older racing game, that would be it for me. But that's also where I grew up playing racing games versus the Burnout games weren't really a huge one for me.
There was the other thing that made this game revolutionary, I remember. So back in the day, there used to be an Xbox camera, and Burnout was one of the few games that took advantage of it. My favorite, though, was in Burnout Revenge. So very few people had the camera. But if you had the camera in Burnout Revenge, obviously that game was all more about, as you can tell with its name, to revenge. Like if you got taken out by someone online, you could go and kill them. But if you, I can't remember if it was any takedown or just specifically you got a revenge takedown. But if that person had a camera, it would actually take a picture of their face and send it to you. So you could basically see their reaction of you taking them out. And I think this game had it as well, because you get the driver's license and the guy's like, oh, we're going to use this placeholder picture for now, but we can change that later. I'm pretty sure this game as well, you could actually take a picture of your face and put it on your license. So it was like these kind of small little gimmicky things, but man, I miss when Xbox used to do kind of fun gimmicky things like that. Like I remember games used to have like voice commands. Like it was Rainbow Six Vegas. You could actually give voice commands to your actual squad mates to like breach and clear a room. And there was an RTS game they made it there where you could use voice commands. But yeah, I just like those small little things were a lot of fun.
Conquers?
No, it wasn't a Command and Conquer game. It was kind of an odd game. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a Command and Conquer type game. It was supposed to be in the future. But it played relatively similar to Command and Conquer. It was more about commanding troops and not so much building troops. Oh, so yeah, Clarence in our Discord says that he just picked this game up and he thinks it still holds up. I mean, I think you could still have a lot of fun with it. I think, as I said, you could play this game within an hour and you see everything, it holds up. But
I think playing with, like, if we were able to play together, which you said we can, you just didn't figure it out before, that would have made it so much more fun.
But then Clarence also said that the developers teased that they're making a new racing game, which I did not hear. I was actually looking online, and I saw, well, granted, they said this back in the day. Criterion, they also did Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, like the latest one, and they said they were going to start steering away from racing games. Steering away. But I actually didn't even mean to do that.
Keith's straight face when you said that.
But I know Criterion now, Criterion Studio now is they're not shut down. They're a support studio because they currently are working on Battlefield 2042. So every time you boot up 2042, you can actually see at the bottom that they're from Criterion. So yeah, Criterion it's kind of a skeleton crew now. And they're just mostly a support studio, which is unfortunate because I think Criterion did the Burnout series is great, and they also did a first-person shooter game, Black, which was really cool. But yeah, so let's talk about the next thing, music.
I was waiting because Andrew, you got so sick of Paradise City.
Yes, this game made me hate the song Paradise City by Guns N' Roses. Because I remember I still remember this to this day, when I was a kid and seeing trailers for this game. And guess what song they played during every trailer? Yep, Paradise City. So anytime I'm seeing a trailer, it's, yep, here's that song again. And then I was like, okay, cool. Now the game's here. And every time you boot up the game, guess what's the song's playing in the main menu? Yep, Paradise City.
But it probably cost a lot of money for them to get that song.
They're milking it.
Honestly, like if you look at like the songs, because there's a lot of songs from like the early 2000s. That one is still probably one of the more expensive ones. It came out the year you were born, I think. And it's probably one of the more expensive ones, I'm assuming. Oh, I thought it was really weird, the mix of music. Like, where did Avril Lavigne come from? I was listening to it and I was like, that is so weird. Because they actually do have, like, more, like, rock-type songs. Not this, I mean, some people...
This game has a good, like, variety of songs in general.
Yes, but I was just very surprised when she came on.
Yeah, I think it's funny, Keith. Yeah, you made a comment about the music. We were chatting about this the other day.
The music might have been my favorite part overall because it was it was a weird time because I think so. If I recall, at least in my history, the first racing game that truly implemented music as like a major function of it in a racing game was Gran Turismo, and that game just absolutely crushed it on the soundtrack front. Still has a good soundtrack to this day. But yeah, the soundtrack in this game was awesome. I mean, it was the music of my generation. I was I guess I am now an elder emo, if you will. So hitting the notes with things like hitting things with like Brand New. That was awesome. Some
Yeah,
Jimmy
I
Earl,
forgot that
awesome.
song was in there, and as soon as it came on, I was like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I was. Heck, Avril Lavigne. That's a fun jam to be driving around, crashing cars and with.
It was odd slow mo seeing cars crashing and burning with Avril Lavigne going.
I mean, all in all, but it was overly fitting. I think they tried to go for like a kind of punk rock vibe overall with their musical choices.
I think it's weird that because like you're talking about like Brand New and stuff. When I went to college, everyone listened to these bands, and I felt like I was the only person in the world that didn't know what emo was. I hadn't heard of any of them. So like some of the stuff I recognize. So, I mean, I feel like I listen to Andrew's music sometimes, so I do recognize more. But I just thought it was like, because you were like, oh, I'd like define our generation. And I was just like, I wasn't listening to the radio, I guess. I was listening to something else.
You were listening to Creedence.
Well, I mean, this wasn't always on the radio, Liz. We were cool.
No.
We listened to music that wasn't on the radio.
We were cool before it was cool.
But I did appreciate it overall. But still, nothing is going to beat Forza Horizon and the classical music. Like,
Which this game had, I think, 2 classical songs.
Okay, I might have missed that, but I think about having a classical radio station and having some of those epic slow motion crashes, the 1912 overture going. That would have been awesome.
Another great thing about the soundtrack too, it's quite large. There's because they obviously rehash a lot of their songs. They have like a Criterion games like soundtrack area. So it's like, oh, here's a song from Burnout 1, Burnout 2, blah, blah, blah. So they had a lot of songs from their previous ones. But what's so good about the soundtrack, you can actually go to the options and personally turn songs off. Or you can pick like, oh, this song can only come on when I'm doing free roam. Or this song can only come on when I'm doing a race. It actually gives you the option to do that. So I took advantage of that and instantly turned off Paradise City. I do not want to hear that song. But it still plays in the main menu, so I still had to listen to it in the main menu.
It really gets stuck in your head, too.
I'm going to say, it's not a bad song. Like I'm not hating on the song. I've just heard it so much that I hate it. It's not my least favorite song. Keith knows my least favorite song, but Liz doesn't. Liz
no, do you know what
me,
it is? It's on a CD that you were gifted on our wedding. On our wedding day. It was one of our wedding
presents. My friend gave us.
But you know what? See, like my memory is getting better though. The fact that you remember that it's on a random CD that we got, 5.5 years ago. Like,
come on, Liz. Do you know what it is? Do you know the band?
No, that's Keith.
I don't know if I want to put this out on the internet. I don't know if I want, because we have some listeners that love to
say it.
Pick on some of my noise audio pet peeves.
I'm still waiting for an elephant noise, Liz. We'll talk business.
Well played.
I thought that was your elephant noise. I was like, wow, Liz instantly threw that elephant noise out there just to get this information.
What noise did I make that you thought? Yeah, that was it. I totally meant to make an elephant noise.
I am curious. All right, Keith, I'll let you. I'm curious if you actually remember it. What's the band? I'll let you say that.
Who sings it? Is it Fall Out Boy who sings it? No, Panic at the Disco.
Crap. Okay, yeah, Keith does know it.
I will find it.
Okay.
Oh, I know it.
How do you remember that?
I don't remember other than it was, I remember why, because you made a really big deal about it. And I was like, that's a really dumb thing to get mad about, but okay.
I will say there are a couple songs that I really genuinely dislike. Not a lot.
Oh, crap.
But, what?
Nothing. Keep talking, Liz. No, don't look at the screen.
What? No, let me see. Oh, the dog's there. Sorry.
No, don't look at the screen, Liz.
Excuse me.
No, keep talking. You're going to lose your train of thought.
You're just trying to get me to not look at it. No, so the other day I was listening to the radio when I was prepping dinner, and right when I turned on the radio, there was a commercial, and I said to Andrew, every time I turn on the radio, freaking Aerosmith comes on, because it's always that. Don't get me wrong, there are a couple Aerosmith songs that I like, but there's at least one that I despise and I loathe it. And it always comes on, and sure enough, the second I said that sentence, it came on. So, I mean, I definitely get that.
Man, Javier in Discord instantly called out the song. And yes, you even guessed the history as to why I hate it. It's because of Rock Band. I had a roommate that constantly played that song.
9 in the afternoon!
And it drove me insane. He literally played it on repeat for hours, and I got so irritated. God, I love that you instantly were just like, oh, it's got to be the song. Good job, Javier. Oh, Liz, are you writing it down? No. See, that's the thing. Liz is going to forget. She's going to write it down and forget where she wrote it down. She's not going to
I will, at the end of the year, go through, and I'll be like, what is this at the bottom?
Yeah, but I know I can always play Aerosmith for you, though.
I'm not saying I would play it. I just want to know, you know?
Why would you want to know that information if you are not going to use it against me?
It is funny. So when we were dating, I forgot what his favorite movie was, and he held it over me for the longest time.
Oh, and I know. And it was
The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And then so it became a thing, like when he was like, "Yeah, you don't know like anything about me," and always bring it up. And now he hates the movie. He hates the title of the movie. He can't stand it. I love you have these auditory things.
But yeah, so anyway, soundtrack's great. Music's actually really good in this game. That's a big plus for me. Graphics. So as I said, this is the remaster version. Originally came out in 2008, and then the remaster version came out 2018. It's good. It's fine. I wouldn't say, I don't know, it's okay. It definitely shows its age. For me, I started noticing the lack of graphics when it came to the crashes. That the crumpling of the car was starting to look kind of generic, and so that was the other thing, where it's just kind of like, all right. But overall, though, it's still very good, because seeing the cars crashing and how they did the camera angles as well, is really entertaining. As I said, the crashes are the big bread and butter with this game, and they did a fantastic job. It is great to see these camera angles of you just clipping a car, but your car is flying through the air doing these triple barrel rolls, and the camera angles just perfect, like every time. Like, I was surprised there was never any weird, awkward camera angles. I thought for sure there'd be sometimes a camera would be maybe stuck in a building or something like that, and you couldn't see your car crash. But no, every time, great camera angles of the car crash.
There were times where I looked at the crash and I was just like, you would be so smushed. And other times dead. Where like the car still looks like it's in decent shape, but ooh.
Yeah, that's why I was disappointed that the motorcycle guy rider just disappears. I want to see that guy tumble.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. There's nothing to write home about the graphics. They did a good job remastering them. I thought the crumple effects were kind of cool, but I guess saying, yeah, as far as they got a little bit samey. But I thought they were fun overall.
I will say, the one thing, I guess I don't know if it's a complaint, but the cars to me overall seemed relatively generic. Granted, so there are no licensed cars in this game. It's all made up car companies, car models, blah, blah. But obviously they're meant to kind of look similar to licensed cars. But for the most part, they all looked relatively generic to me. I never once was like, oh, that guy's driving the blah, blah, blah car. Unless someone's driving like the pickup truck. Like, clearly you can see that. That's the reliable custom. But like, that's kind of like the few. There's actually a few that are just very different looking. But, it didn't really bother me.
I like the landscapes too. Not too as in like you said that. I mean, I'm like thinking like of other things that I liked. Driving through the cities and stuff. Like I thought it looked pretty good.
I found the city environment itself to be relatively generic and bland. It's a lot of just generic looking buildings. Like, as I said, you're going to these 9 major points of, the ranch, the baseball stadium, the naval yard, but it never struck me as that. I never, unless you take the shortcut where you're driving in the baseball stadium, I would never have noticed a baseball stadium there unless they told me. Like, to me, just the city overall just felt kind of flat and generic.
So, and I think a lot of that plays into the fact that we've played all of the Forza Horizon games too, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like we're
experiencing those. Like, maybe they're not, you know, lay out exact cities or replica cities in London or Australia or wherever these locations are, but they're real living cities, and they feel just so much more expansive. So that going back and seeing Burnout, it's like, yeah, this is a city, and it's kind of cool, and there's some landmarks, but there's no true landmarks. There's no, like in the Forza Horizon games, you have those marked areas where you stop, and it goes to this big cut scene, and it, you know, gives this, you know, beautiful scene of the sunset over the horizon. So I think that's what it's hard to compare that to what we're seeing in Burnout Paradise.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
Oh, but I also forgot to, quick snippet too. So with the remastered, I said they have all the DLCs, which, yeah, Javier put out. Yeah, there's toy cars you can play with. Those are kind of goofy because they're just small, but they didn't have any structure to them. I was crashing the toy cars. They didn't do anything, which kind of made me sad. But yeah, there's an expansion called the Big Surf Island, and it's the same game modes. I was really disappointed in that. I was like, cool. I will say the city design in the Big Surf Island is way better. You're definitely doing way cooler jumps. There's way cooler, like, tricks you're doing over there. But you're still doing the same race and takedown and marked man game modes, which I thought was so disappointing. But, yeah, the achievements, as we said, this is definitely not a game for achievement hunters. If you're looking for some quick, like, you just need to get your achievement for the day, yeah, this game has a handful of them. But, yes, there is a lot of achievements to, you know, hit every single shortcut, hit all of the boards, unlock all of the cars. There's also a handful of achievements, though, to race online. And, yeah, I tried once, and it was having like server issues. I don't even know if the servers are active anymore. So you probably will not be getting the online races.
Yeah, looking at the achievements, Andrew, 210 out of 1,000 gamer score with 15 out of 56. Keith, 80 and 7 achievements, and I did 140 with 12 achievements.
Nice, Liz.
It's just because I crashed a lot.
Crashed a lot.
I like that one of the achievements was, I think it was underachiever, and that's when you get your Class C license, yeah. I think. But that was a cute name for it.
But yeah, so I guess we will get into our final thoughts here. I'll go first with this. So, as I said, you know, unfortunately, I'm giving this a pass. I loved the Burnout series, and I think I've just gotten so spoiled with Forza Horizon. You know, Forza Horizon just offers so much variety, what you're doing in your races and stuff like that. Burnout Paradise, it's kind of a one-trick pony where its main bread and butter is the crashes, and the crashes are very good. But yeah, you're just offered 4 or 5 different game modes, and they're just usually just kind of a different variation of a race. So that just was kind of disappointing. So that's why for me, I have a hard time recommending this to someone who hasn't played these. Because if you've played Forza Horizon, I think you will just be more bored with this because you've been spoiled with a lot of modern features. But if you've played the Burnout games, I think you can this game still is a lot of fun. I was having fun with it, but it just, for the most part, this never was a game that, like, while I was playing, I wasn't like, oh man, I'm going to sink 20 hours in this. Which I actually forgot to mention. Time to beat, it actually isn't too long. Granted, you got to do a lot of, like I said, redoing of things. Yeah, you're going to constantly do all these races, then redo them again once you upgrade your license. Time to beat, you're looking between like 11 to 18 hours. So not crazy long, but you know, Forza Horizon will take you like hundreds of hours. But so yeah, it's a fun arcadey weekend kind of racer game. It's not awful, but it just ages. So I'm gonna give it a 75.
Yeah, I think, like, if I were to put this game into a vacuum and just play it, I think I would say, yeah, this is fun.
And damage your vacuum?
Yeah. You smash the crap out of it. It's fun, and I enjoy the racing element of it, or, you know, the gameplay elements of it, but I just found like I wasn't doing enough of the gameplay when I was trying to play the game, and maybe it's an unfair comparison, but it's why we're here. And having played, as Andrew said, the Forza Horizon games, or, you know, as I've mentioned frequently before, it's very different in a lot of ways, but it's still open world. And the Need for Speed Underground game, I think, is just a great example of a game that really, at least in my opinion, I think aged well, because I went back and picked it up don't know, at least in the early 2015s or something like that, and I still had a lot of fun with it. So, is Burnout Paradise fun? Yes, it is. But would I recommend it versus any other handful of other racing games I could think of? No, I wouldn't. So it's still a pass, and yeah, I think I think I'll go with 70 because the soundtrack is awesome. It is a good soundtrack.
I'm gonna give it a 78. I think I.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The person who doesn't like racing games is giving it the high score.
I actually found myself enjoying it a bit more. I don't want to say more than Forza. I felt like, I mean, Forza, don't get me wrong, better. It's better. Like the graphics and everything, like it is better. But this is just so noob friendly. And so I actually did have some moments where I was having a lot of fun and I was laughing. And so for like a racing game, I actually enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. Looking at Metacritic for Xbox One, 79 from critics and 7.1 from users. And our fourth and silent co-host had some opinions on it.
You gave it a 0.
0.
No.
Whoa.
And can I just tell you that out of all the games we played that he has given a 0 that were so good, in this one he did not. He gave it a 1. And that blew my mind. Blew my mind. But he also did refer to it as a big infernal dung. So
Infernal or infertile?
Infernal.
Both are kind of weird.
Infertile. Okay. Yeah, this dung is not reproducing.
I mean, I was gonna say either is kind of an odd description, but infernal slightly better.
I think maybe it was the French translation. Maybe it meant like it's just a big flaming poop.
Oh, maybe.
Probably.
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
A hell turd.
All right. But I think that's going to do it for us this week. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live, Firebird, Z1952. Thank you so much to our Patreon members, Javier and Kelly. Because you guys, you know, I've actually been able to get an AI editing bot to kind of help me a little bit with some of these episodes, which is funny because you can actually read the descriptions that the AI wrote on description of some of the episodes, and I find them actually hilarious. So one of them I did was, I think it was Pal World. It just made me laugh because it's like, we promised an engaging episode. It's like, I do not promise nothing. Thank you, AI. But it definitely is helping me with time saving, so thank you guys for supporting us. We got some extra premium content coming out to it as well. We have a $3 tier, which is going to be episodes of just me and Keith. And then, yeah, we'll have the for the $5 tier are the bigger episodes that we'll do with all three of us. But, yeah, you can find the link to all of our stuff at GamePassGrabOut.com. Join our Discord. It's a fun time. You can join us on these live recordings. Interact with us. We always love hearing from you all. So, yeah. I'm out.
Come level up, unless you're me, because I'm the only person who can't, but everyone else does.
Yeah, I like you can't level up because you're an admin, but I own the channel, and yet I can level up in it.
I'm forever level 2. But I guess that's kind of like the story of my gaming life. So... I've been Keith, and who recommended this game for us again?
It was user_2. He on our Spotify.
Okay, well,
yeah, we get a lot of game recommendations on our Spotify, which I love.
I gotta go back to checking those comments. Well, thanks, user_2.
Clarence,
hey!
It's Clarence. Oh, here you go.
Oh, so you get in real time now. This is really uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, he's in the room. Here you go, Keith.
93.
You just got to make sure you beat Donnie.
Yeah, everyone beats Donnie. And for you, go play Forza Horizon. I promise you'll have a good time.
And I'm Liz Noob, gamertag ComeOnMD, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at LizNoobNoobBusyW. And yeah, we need to figure out a way for me to get closer to the screen because I can read some of it. Like when they write in shouty capitals, I can read it from here. But if it's not in shouty capitals, I can't. Maybe I need a new prescription.
I thought you said when they write in shiny capitals.
I did. I said it wrong. I meant shouty.
We need to get you in the Discord, and then you can have a tablet up while we're recording, and then you can have the chat up in front of you that way.
I lean forward and I see funny things being written. Feel left out over here.
All right, give me your phone. We'll create an account. Let's join our Discord. Yay. All right, everyone. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys. I assumed
Bye.
you already made me one.